Hello, hello. Hope you're all well, everyone. I've been a bit all over the place this week, so I'm sorry for doing a late vlog, but my stupid ear has been aching and just sending me loopy. Anyone who follows me on Twitch, I can't remember what day it was now, Sunday probably. I played Portal Reloaded on Sunday, and I was already feeling a little bit funny. I've had like pain across here all week, and I just went off the rails. I'm not even sure if it was because of my ear. I think it was partially because of my ear, partially because of my motion sickness, as we call it, but I was so ridiculously overloaded by the end of it all. I had a very weird Sunday night where I come off it and I had this spotlight over here. I had to turn it off. I had to turn off the light above me. I ended up having to come off the computer altogether because it was all too bright. And then I went to bed and I thought it's only like, I don't know, 9:45. I'll set an alarm and go downstairs at 10. So I asked Alexa to set an alarm and go from there. I was worried it was going to speak, then it hasn't. And then fell asleep, and about 15-20 minutes later it went off. All flashlights. I was in pitch black and the room lit up in green. And it was like someone had stabbed me in the head. I was just like, and it's just going off. And I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like the noise, the lights. It was like I'd thrown a grenade at myself. It was ridiculous. So I really struggled to get the words out to turn that off. And I just text Claire going, I'm really not well. I don't know what's wrong with me. And she was like, is it your ear? And I said, no, I don't think it is, because it was just hurting. And it's not really a thing. I looked into it, and getting kind of light sensitivity and all that isn't a thing with earaches, But then it did start getting, my actual earache started getting worse. So I felt better the next day. I felt knackered, but the next day I felt better. And then the earache started actually going bad. So Monday I was kind of powering through. I felt quite happy by the evening, but after doing a stream, then by Tuesday I was all over the place. So yesterday, by the night I was laying. I spent all Tuesday morning in meetings just laying down while I was on them. I wasn't on camera. Same Monday actually. I was just not on camera, so no one could see me. I was just watching the meeting from sideways on, and just following what was going on, and just thinking I can't move. I feel ridiculous. But today I feel a lot better. It seems to have cleared up. I don't have any kind of light sensitivity. I went in the garden Monday and was like, the sun. You couldn't handle it. I don't know what it was. Could have been migraine. I don't know. It's weird. I was absolutely thrown by the game though, and we tried to play GeoGuessr, and I was still getting sick from that. I was very, very thin-skinned. I couldn't hack anything. So yeah, that was why I'm late and why I didn't record. I've just had a weird week with that. Garage is coming along really well. I won't do the over to me now, but I will do that in a minute, show you how it's getting on. But we have a wall outside, and we have plastering done inside. It's looking pretty cool. School's been interesting with Ollie. I mentioned on Twitter earlier, anyone who follows me, I was having a bit of a dilemma. Wasn't sure how to tackle the situation. I'm not going to go into the finer details because I don't want to go through it. But he said something really rude to someone. Not rude. It was just aggressive. It was just too threatening, too mean, not very nice. And he came out of it towards his TA, and the head rang me to just let me know about it and to talk about the general kind of, he's been acting a little bit, misbehaving this week. So I sort of was at a bit of a loose end, because I was like, well, we've talked to him about stuff. He's not really listening to certain things as much. He's acting out a bit, or we'll have a chat and everyone tells us the day's been fine, and it turns out he's done little things here and there that might have been a problem. Maybe they didn't think it was a big enough problem to tell us, whatever. But the heads rang and just said, this has happened, and by the way, these two things have happened. So I was like, okay. So I wanted to talk to Ollie, but I didn't want to just talk to him and then leave it. I was kind of like, this needs a bit of a follow-up. So the wisdom of the internet, where did you get that from? Where did you learn to say that? Where did it come from? Why did you say it? That kind of thing. I just had a conversation with him, and generally it was that his TA wanted him to stop. He was in a music lesson and he kept making noises, and she wanted him to stop making noises and come for a bit of a break because he was getting a bit worked up. Part of it I didn't tweet about actually, and part of the problem we've all got is that he doesn't recognise when he needs to have a timeout. And obviously you can plan timeouts and say you got a timeout in 15 minutes, you got a timeout in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute now, and he'll do that fine. But if he suddenly out of the blue starts getting a bit worked up, he's not very good at just kind of going with you, right? Let's go out here a minute. Let's go do this. He doesn't. He's like, no, I want to do this. I want to stick with what I'm doing, and he's focused, and it becomes a fight. So what was happening was she could see he was getting worked up, and she wanted him to kind of just go off for a bit of a timeout or go off and do something else. She'd given him the usual, we can do this, or yeah, and then what more about we should go and do that, because he was just getting disruptive, and he was getting uncomfortable, and he was getting angry, and in the end she was like, we have to go and do something else, and he just started getting really aggressive and angry at her verbally. I think he threw a book and it hit her as well. It bounced off the floor and hit her on the leg, and he was really upset then. I think that sent him off even further because he didn't mean to hit her with a book, but it happened. So he ended up running off out into the field, and he said he tried to, I was like, oh God, they said he tried to climb the fence, but realised he can't climb the fence, and just then was like, ugh, in a heap. And I was like, I could just imagine it. And I was thinking, how dramatic. So when I spoke to him, I can't remember, he doesn't remember any of it. And part of me thinks that is just the fog of it all. I genuinely believe he couldn't remember it that well. I jogged his memory. We got there in the end, and he was just like, I was just upset, you know, I didn't want to stop. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, and it, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I asked where he got it from, and I was like, because you know, I was like, we really control what he watches, what he does, what he plays, that kind of thing. I check it all because I don't want him to get the wrong end of the stick or misunderstand something or this sort of things happen. And he mentioned some game that he'd been playing, and I was like, well, what's that, on Roblox? Like, you're not supposed to play games like that on Roblox. We've blocked all that. We've got age limits on there. And he was like, no, I play it at school. I was like, what do you mean you play it at school? And there's a bloody game on Scratch that him and his friend have found that's a bit too violent for their age, basically. And he's been playing that with his friend, and it was his friend that he was talking to when he said something rude about the TA. And I was just like, oh, for God's sake. So that's been learned since my tweets, but I now need to chat to the head and say that I'm not complaining. Like, him and this kid have somehow stumbled across a game online. Scratch is a learning tool, but it's also something that can be learned in year 7, in year 11, you know. So someone's made a game on there that is perhaps aged wrong or something. You know, it's not like they can't block Scratch from the school, because that is a learning tool. It's a great tool. But Ollie and his friend have found this game that's a bit too inappropriate for them. And it's just put this in his head. He was like, yeah, I was just talking about that. And it's like, oh, okay, right. I mean, I feel a little bit better because I feel like, okay, all of the stuff we put in place is working, although nothing's foolproof, because the school's genuinely safer than most places, and that's still, you know, had a mishap. But I feel a little bit like, okay, it's nice being able to ring him and say it's in the school, but I was going to email him, and then I thought, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to be like, you know, it's your problem now, fool, ha ha ha, you know, come across that way. I just want to say to him, you might want to have a quick look at it, see if there's anything you can do. Don't worry about it, you know, we're fine, whatever. We've had a chat. But no, when I had a chat with him, it was quite, actually, I mean, we always talk through things, but I think he realised how serious it was when we talked. He seems okay now. I'm hoping that that's the end of that. I need to teach him to lower how upset he gets about things. Like, he'll treat something that bothers us 2 out of 10 as a 10 out of 10 problem, and it's like, well, if you're always 10 out of 10, then when something is actually a 10 out of 10, you're never going to know how to react, you know. Although I said to him, nothing is bad enough that you'd react the way you reacted to this, you know. It just seemed too much. It just seemed too over the top. So yeah, that's going to be a fun learning curve. And I know plenty of people have said they got children that are much older, 12 plus, who still have that kind of misunderstanding of how aggressive or angry or upset to be. And yeah, it scares me a little bit, that kind of thing. I just think there's going to be times over the years where he's just going to go too far, and we're going to have to teach him not to. And it's like, what do you do? What do you do? It's hard, isn't it? So yeah, we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, progress. So I am relieved, though. It seems like a good chat. I was really nervous before, and that's why I tweeted about it. So beyond that, where are we? What have we done? The weekend, where did we go at the weekend? What did we do at the weekend? Oh my God. We went to my in-laws, had fun in the garden, seeing my brother-in-law. Finally got to give him his Christmas present 5 months too late. Claire was so worried about how late the Christmas present was that she made me go and buy a bottle of gin to give them alongside it, which was quite funny. And I thought, well, they know we didn't buy this at Christmas because it had Wimbledon written on it. We got some, I think there was like a Wimbledon gin in there that was sip sniff or something like that. So it was a good gin, but it was discounted because I don't even know where Wimbledon is. Isn't Wimbledon in the future? But it was discounted because it wasn't Wimbledon. I don't know. I'm confused. But unless it was Wimbledon last year, then it looks like we had old gin lying around. I didn't think this through. I just bought it because it was the best gin I could find for the amount of money Clara told me to spend. But no, that was a really nice weekend, seeing them in the garden and that. Ben was absolutely thrilled to see them. He was going a bit nuts, bless him. He was so excited to see them, he hid from them. And then he went the opposite end of the spectrum and was just hugging and kissing my brother-in-law's partner just loads because he was so excited to see her. And it was kind of like, rein it in, Ben, come on. Like, you know, you've gone from ignoring them to being obsessed, bless him. But he was very happy to see them. He's equally as excited. He's looking forward to seeing my sister and brother-in-law and their cousin in a couple of weeks, hopefully when we get back from holiday. What else did we do? It's really weird thinking the weekend was only 3 days ago and it's just blank in my mind. I think there was some sort of Pokemon event. I feel like, yes, there was a community day. I'm sure, was that last weekend? Yeah, it was Swablu Day and we went and did that. That felt like a little bit of an anticlimax. I just kind of got involved in it for a little bit, but didn't really do that much. I just bumbled around. I had to take Ollie for a haircut. That was the big thing that we'd done. It was the big mountain I had to climb because I don't know if I mentioned this I might have mentioned it on the vlog. I definitely mentioned it on the stream, but I convinced him to go for a haircut because he'd been telling Claire, no. Convinced him to go. We went there in the pouring rain. It was a storm. As we're going in, we got splashed by a car. It was an absolute train wreck. And when we walked in the door and he was still fine to have the haircut, the guy had slashed the top of his finger open and was bleeding everywhere. And he was like, I've got to shut up shop and got to go. And we were just like, and Ollie was calm in there, but when I talked to him about going on Saturday, he was like, I don't want to go, I don't want to see the blood again, and I was like, it's not going to be like that every time we go there. It's, you know, he just cut his hand. Let's go and see. And so I convinced him to go, and he did go. He was fine all the way in, and then in the chair, he just hated it. We took his Switch along with him, and he didn't want to play it. We ended up I just bribed him. I just bribed him until he got through it. It's quite funny because he remembers all of it. He doesn't remember all of it when he's got a fog and he's raging at someone, but he remembers it all when he's panicking because it started off, right, get your hair cut, you know, you'll be fine, just sit with me, you'll be fine, it's all good, here's your Switch, you know, it'll be fine. And then I started trying to distract him. We're going to see, you know, your uncle later. He's going to say how handsome you are with your new haircut, all of this. And then it was, oh, well, why don't we get some Robux when we finish? You can spend Robux on something else. And then I was trying to remind him that he had lots of money to spend on holiday because my mum gave him some money. And then he says, I don't remember this, but he says that I then said I'd give him an extra £5 towards that as well. And I was like, I don't remember saying that. And he was like, you gave me £5 for Roblox and £5 for holiday. And I was just like, okay, fair enough. But by that point, I was holding he was leaning on my hand like that. And I was just stroking his ear while the man cut round it. And then, bless him, we switched hands, switched sides, and he was cutting the other side. And you can see how curly mine's getting at the back at the moment. I thought about getting mine done, and I thought, no, I'm not sitting here. I'll keep letting it grow. I'll get it all done off when this little bit's finished. But it was quite quick. We were only probably gone half an hour, and then he was absolutely fine after that. But it did involve a lot. Weirdly, he hated the scissors but didn't mind the electric one. He said that felt nice. And I was like, okay. I was thinking it'd be the other way around, that the noise would make him scared. I did notice it was quite mad in there. Like, there was people talking, there was Sky Sports on, there was a radio on. We were talking to him, and I thought, God, there's a lot going on in here. I might say to them, like, because they do have an autism friendly thing, but they obviously weren't aware that would be probably part of it, be quite useful. I might ask them if they've got a time where they could turn all that off in future. But it worked out all right. Right, I think that is everything that's happened. But we're gearing up for our holiday at the moment. I'm nervous. I don't know the rules because school are suddenly being inundated with COVID problems. They've had like 8 cases in the past 2 days. Cases are going nuts. Year 11 classes are being sent home. The school have asked that all the children come in wearing masks from now on. And yeah, we're just like, okay, it is literally 10 working days until we go on holiday now. Not even now, I think it's 10 days till we go on holiday. So if Emily got it today, she has to isolate 10 days. Any day between now and then, if there's a case in her class, she has to isolate for 10 days. So we're kind of like, how does it work now? If you get the alert saying someone you come into contact with has it, do you just test yourself, and then you're fine if you're okay after a certain amount of time? Or do you, she can't go on holiday, can she, surely? I don't understand how it works. So, you know, if 5 days time, someone in her class coughs, gets sent home, and if they're on the same row, there's like a cross section they do. If you're in that cross section, you have to take 10 days off school. So how does that work? Do we just test say, I don't know, on the 20, we go on the 29th. So if we test on the 28th and everyone's clear, are we okay to go? I don't understand how it works. So I'm just a little bit frustrated now, because you know what's going to happen. And I'm just like, I sort of said to Claire, if it happens that Emily can't go, but we're all clear, she can take the boys if she wants to. And then I could bring Emily down within, if it's reasonable that, I don't know, say it's tomorrow, I could bring her down a day later or whatever, or we could all go a day later. But if it was 3 days in, we could come 3 days in. But if it happened the day before, then am I staying at home with Emily, and, you know, Claire goes with the boys for a week or goes with her mum or something? I don't know. So we need to decide. We need to figure out what we're doing. But it's all a big poop and a bit worrying. So I don't know. I need advice, really. I don't know what I tried Googling it, but I couldn't find a straight answer. But that is our week, basically. So that's our lot there. I will go over to me to show you the garage if you're interested. It's there. If not, see you next video. So to start with, the wall looks absolutely outstanding. You can't even really tell. It's slightly darker because it's not weathered, but you can't really tell that that's a brand new wall. It's drying really well over here. Looking very cool. I feel like such a loser talking in the front garden in front of the neighbours like that. I could never do it out in public. So yeah, they're plastering in here. I'm guessing they just haven't done this yet, and they're not leaving it like that, but I don't really know. Quite impressed that they've plastered around this all perfectly. That hole's to let the gas out if there's a leak. They're going to cover that nicely. I'm hoping that box still opens, otherwise the fuse box screwed. But yeah, it all looks pretty cool. This thing on here is the window ledge that's going to go in the window. That's their kit. And they're going to pop the lights in after they finish plastering everything. But it's all looking good. The hole that's... do you know what? I filmed a hole up there. There was a hole up there yesterday, but you've not seen that. So, yeah, it's all looking pretty cool. So, on that note, I'll finish. This will be the first vlog I finish in here like this. I cannot wait to be sat in my chair, at my desk. It all set out nicely, and I'll be like, thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you next vlog. And that'll be job done. So yeah, I don't know, I will say it. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope you're all well. Let me know in the comments down below how you're getting on. Information on the COVID thing will be useful. I just don't know what to do with that. And yeah, I'll catch up with you all on, what day is it? Oh, I'll do the vlog tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, Thursday. Thursday's vlog day. See you then. Cheers. Bye.